So you've landed a job. How do you make sure you start on the right foot and continue that way?
Shulin, let's start with you on this front. You know, the probationary period.
Yes.
When all eyes are on you and every tiny little thing you do,
Yes.
what do you do to survive that time?
Yes. So know that you're starting from the bottom, right? And so you have to be aware, self-aware. Be humble if you can. Be enthusiastic, learn. And I think the most important thing that you shouldn't do is assume you got the job. Because a lot of people, they think that I got this job already, so I don't need to try. I know, again, this might ruffle some feathers, but if your boss stays until 7 or 8 p.m. and you leave every day at 5 or 6 p.m., I don't think it's a very good sign. So kind of read the room, get some self-awareness, even ask someone, hey, you passed your probation, how do you do it? Is there anything I can do to improve? Ask for feedback before the feedback is even given to you.
For every role that you are hired for, you are being hired to solve a problem. So the first 30 days is really for you to figure out what problem are you solving in that role for that company, right? Ask about how do I fit into the whole ecosystem. Understand what you need to understand about performing well. And then I would say the next 30 days in your second month, right, is about building your niche and letting people know about your niche, right? You're the Gen Z in the team and then everyone else is not a Gen Z. Then bring that perspective and be that niche. And the last 30 days, you know, if you have a typical sort of like 3 months probation, then it's really about maybe trying to take initiative, right? Take ownership, volunteer for things to do in the role, and hopefully then that gives you a sort of lasting impression to allow you to clear probation.
And just to end, don't be scared. A lot of people, when they join a job for the first time, they are terrified. They're terrified of trying things, they're terrified of doing something, terrified of making mistakes. That's not a problem. Honestly, people make mistakes. Everybody knows that. So don't be scared when you join a company.
Keep a Word document or like an email of ongoing things that you have done. So at the end of your probation, you can show them, hey, these are all the things I've done. And they'll be like, wow, I didn't know. You've been really busy. So sometimes really you can be brilliant but invisible. So be brilliant and visible. Because the problem is those people are not so brilliant and visible get ahead of you.
When it's time to sort of negotiate your next step, what are employers looking out for, you think, these days?
Like most companies will have a goal, right? I mean, it's usually to make money, but there are other goals as well. Most organizations want to know how you've contributed to that goal. How did you help the company move forward? And if while you're tracking the log, right, like as Shulin said, you make a list of all the things you've done. At the same time, make sure you're also tracking how that helped the company.
I wonder how early is too early to start thinking about a pay rise? What are your thoughts?
So money is a very sensitive topic, obviously. The worst thing you can do to ask for a pay rise is to go shop around for other jobs, take that job offer and give to your boss and say, I want more money. And this happens more often than you realize. Why I do not recommend that? A, they will start planning your exit. They will think you are a flight risk. They may give you the pay increase, but they will always look at you with less trust. Don't immediately just say, hey, I want 20% more. You can, but then if they say no, are you still going to take the job? So I've seen too many job offers get pulled because the job negotiation, you know, in terms of money, goes haywire. So what you can do is say, you know, looking at the job, if you can do this verbally, face-to-face, or, I mean, the worst-case scenario is email. Email is not so great because it's very easy to reject and say no via email. But if you do it face-to-face or on a phone call, you can say, okay, this is the job scope. This is what I've done. I've also done some salary surveys. I've looked at the data, and I think the salary can be in this region. I wonder if there's any flexibility to go upwards on the pay package. That's one scenario. Second scenario, when you're asking for more money from your boss, you have to pick a right time, right? You cannot, you see your boss very bad mood, you're going to ask for more money. You cannot. So you must pick the right time and also ask other colleagues who might have gotten pay raises before, how they did it. Ask HR. You can have that conversation with your boss now and say, you know, boss, I'm here for the long haul. I'm very loyal, I want to stay, and I've contributed so much, I want to contribute even more. I wonder if we can review my pay, salary, my bonus.
I think like salary raises and looking for promotion is something that it has to be done over a series, a time period, right? You cannot be like, oh, tomorrow I want to ask for a pay raise.
You have to sow the seeds
Yes, you have to sow the seeds, right? And you have to start showing up, right? And start, you know, really be visible, right? So that people know that, oh, this guy is stepping up and they pay attention to you. And from then it's easier to then negotiate your way in.
So there's a lot of information right now online about what kind of salaries are getting paid. And you get a range and then you can work within that. As Shulin said, you can't just go and randomly throw a number out. I feel like I should make 30% more. You could feel like that, but that company may not be willing to pay that much.
And I was wondering earlier also, how, let's say I start a new job, how soon is too soon to have this conversation? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? What do you reckon?
That's a tough call, right? First of all, there are a couple of factors to take into consideration. If you feel you are underpaid, find out if you are actually underpaid or, it's just something, your expenses might be more. For example, there are people I've seen who've gotten pay rises very quickly because they've contributed so much to the organization. Even before they could ask, the company gave it. So there is no real time frame as to when to ask. I would want to make sure that you are feeling underpaid or undervalued. Try and understand what's happening before you have that conversation.